It is the Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. That is Van Halen with some Mean Street. And this is Neely rocking the mean streets of the Classic Metal Show. We want to thank our new friend, Josh Toomey, for being a part of the Classic Metal Show tonight. Go check out his podcast over at Talk to Me. And you can hear Chris's interview that was put up last week. So if you don't get enough of Chris on the live show and on through the week with the podcast downloads, there's even more Chris to be had.
There's 2 hours of me.
Wow.
Talk to me. We did a long show.
I think I'm going to just recall this show the Chris Aiken Talk Show.
Well, why not? I am the appeal.
Pretty much.
Stop it.
I'm just the guy who runs the controls.
Whatever. Hey. All right, Opie.
So there you are. But I had no prior exposure to Josh aside from knowing about your interview that you did. Now, how did you do it with him? Did you do it via the Skype?
Yeah, Skype.
All right, cool.
Yeah, you would probably really dig his show, dude, just because he does what we always say. He doesn't ask stupid questions. He approaches like a fan, and he asks the questions that a fan would want to know.
Sure. Well, again, this goes back to and I tried to, go that direction with him as to what sets his podcast apart from the interview podcasts that are available out there. Because, again, not to pat ourselves on the back, but I think that we do some pretty damn good interviews. But for whatever reason, people out there aren't that interested.
Yeah, it really is weird, and lately, because I've not been as busy, I've been studying our numbers a little better. I've been looking at our numbers a lot. We don't seem to do as well interview-wise on Spreaker. But we do well with the interviews on iTunes.
Okay.
The iTunes things, whenever we have interviews, they don't tell us how many we've done, but they show that little indicator of what's popular and what's not. And our iTunes interviews are always popular. So I think we do better with interviews in iTunes. And I know anytime we talk to anybody on YouTube, we get a bunch of hits from that.
Well, the thing is that Spreaker actually does give us the numbers.
From iTunes?
Yes. If you look, it'll give you the numbers on YouTube. It'll give you the numbers on iTunes. Because since Spreaker is our upload platform, it tracks the numbers what each outlet does.
Right.
And YouTube, strangely enough, over iTunes is our biggest outlet.
YouTube is, yeah.
Yeah, but if you look at the YouTube numbers, they don't look that big, on individual podcasts.
No, but you look at the cum on them, and we're going to cross, I think this week, we're going to cross 600,000 plays or whatever you call it. Yeah, plays on YouTube.
Sure.
Which is a lot.
But if you go to the control board on the Spreaker,
yeah,
and you have a check mark in the individual outlets that it distributes the podcast to,
okay,
it'll show you what the download numbers are for that outlet.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look. I've just been kind of watching. I watched the Spreaker numbers, and I've been watching the YouTube numbers, and it just seems like we get more bang over at the YouTube videos than we do on Spreaker.
Sure.
And iTunes, it always seems like the interviews are popular, that gauge thing, whatever that thing is.
Sure.
So look, in my world, I don't give a shit. If people are enjoying the show, whatever they're enjoying, whether it's an interview or if it's us, talking about another teacher fucking another student, whatever makes people enjoy the show, I'm down.
Right. Exactly.
I still can't figure out why people want to listen to me and you have phone calls all
Well,
weekend.
yeah, that is the weird thing, but I'll take it regardless. I'll take it. But as I was trying to express to Josh, you and I don't really understand what the appeal of the show is for whomever is listening, but God bless you if you find whatever it is we say entertaining or funny.
The way I'll say it is real simple. You guys listening, for whatever fucking reason you do, sent Neely out to see Armored Saint Queensryche for free.
Exactly.
Because those numbers are what convinced the publicist to let us do things.
Sure.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So and that's how I went to. I paid for my Bonham tickets this year.
Yep.
Never mind, I bought those. Fuck the publicist.
Right.
I paid for those. God damn it.
Exactly. So, but anyway, it's interesting to me just watching those numbers from the various outlets and whatnot. So I'm always grateful.
Yeah, me too. It is fun.
All right. Well, would you like to get into some begging for email?
Sure, why not?
All right, let's get into some begging for email.
All right.
It's time for the Classic Metal Show to start begging for email.
What the hell is email?
Death sent me an email.
Well, when you figure it out, email me.
And here's your loser beggars, Neely and Chris.
You've got mail.
Well, Chris, believe it or not, we received a email from the real Eddie Trunk.
The real Eddie Trunk?
The real Eddie Trunk. Just like the real Jeff Tate or the real Dave Mustaine.
And I don't like you.
So I thought I would read this.
All right. So what does the real Eddie Trunk have to say?
This is Hail and Kill, fellas.
Well, hail and kill, real Eddie.
This is the real Eddie Trunk.
Well, welcome.
Now I know you're well aware of my ever hectic schedule, which keeps me from calling into your little program on Saturday nights. So I think you might greatly benefit from my email. Mind you, my, me, and I are all capitalized.
You are garbage.
In the famous words of Oprah, he's quoting Oprah.
Oh, wow.
Now I want to pass my greatness on to you.
Thank you, Steven.
And fellas, hey, this whole Kiss Paul Stanley fiasco is just so deplorable. I mean, this is like equivalent of, let's just say, some big nigger who walks over and takes a shit on all my Kiss collectibles and then sprinkles some glitter over the fecal matter and exclaims, "Okay, now, there's talent, yo."
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Paul.
That's quite an analogy.
That is something. I didn't realize that Eddie used those kind of words.
Well, he is from New York.
True.
I mean, the whole thought process is just staggering. Don't get me wrong, Wendell. He calls me by my first name.
Of course he does.
I trust Kiss management as much as I do a greasy midget with Tourette's and a circle jerk. But nevertheless, you got to steamroll ahead and do what you do best.
We're trying our best.
Exactly. I suppose this is what happens when you've been supporting and being a fan like I have. God forbid anyone bothers to ask me how I'm feeling. Now, fellas, I didn't know Eddie Trunk used fellas.
You must.
I've been in the business a long time. Kiss were my gateway band into this nonsense. I cannot tell you how many times I consumed pudding pops listening to 100,000 Years. I got plenty of friends in show business. Plenty. I know people.
What?
Just last weekend, I got a chance to have lunch with a very close and personal friend of mine, Mr. John Rufo. Guys, in my humble opinion, this kid is an unsung hero of unemployed bass players. So much so that we're now in the early talks to do put on some sort of a benefit concert in his honor.
Wow.
It's for a good cause, of course. Going to use the proceeds toward whatever ailment he might have this particular week.
I will do gay stunts for money.
It's way too early in the stages to give you any specifics, so I can't talk about it too much. But looking at about 5 or 6 bands right now, bands who will have bands who will be chosen solely by me and my vast expertise of hard rock and metal.
That sounds gay.
Now listen, fellas.
All right.
Obviously, I've been doing this a long time.
For money, we'll do anything.
I spy with my little trunk eye something I like to call talent.
Wow.
Be it dot knots, wops, spicknigs, or slot machines.
What?
If I spy with my little trunk eye something like that I like to call talent.
All right.
Be it dot knots, wops, spicknicks, or slot machines. If they can play a riff, I want in.
I'm like the Forrest Gump of metal.
I mean, everyone knows Father's Day is the most confusing day in the ghetto. Wow. Now, fellas, I speak a language that all bands speak. It's called Trunk Nation. And you and your listeners can tune in during the weekdays.
Wow. Thanks.
Next on the bucket list is me putting out the Eddie Trunk cookbook, which is going to consist of maybe like 50 various dishes that have been gestating on my back burner for some time.
How cool is that? How cool is that?
Put in your pipe and smoke it, Paul Stanley.
What?
He said, put it in your pipe and smoke it, Paul Stanley. You know, because Paul Stanley's he's into chef. You know, he's a chef.
Thank you, man.
But to be quite frank, I'm starting to think of renaming the book.
Okay.
Eddie Trunk's Kitchen Magic, if Bobby Blotzer says I can. Naturally, I'm kidding, of course, but when you've traveled far and abroad with these bands like I have, you get the idea. Or Eddie's, or let me rephrase that. You get you get the ideas, or ideas, EDDEAS, ideas. Ideas.
Oh, God, that's great.
Exactly. This is what I do. Personal choice recipes like my Toscana Trunk Surprise or Choco Double Stump Cookies will at least be made available to all my fans. Gonna be plenty for everyone's cutlery needs. Also,
it's the ass of a Haitian.
Also, next winter, get ready, set, go, Wendell, for Eddie Trunk Christmas special. That's right. The rumors are all true. It's a VH1 film I've been working on for, 2.5 years with some Hollywood heavyweights.
Oh, yeah?
Again, can't mention any names, but all very, very nice and good and great people, good friends of mine. What I can tell you is that it'll be some sort of cross between The Song Remains the Same meets Gremlins.
Wow.
Fellas, lately I want to mention I am available for birthday parties, weddings, bar mitzvahs, and the such. I like to remind my fans that I am one of the common folk. In this day and age, when rock albums carry the weight of wet farts, you got to do whatever it takes to survive and get the word out on the fine oiled machinery that is Trunk Nation.
You got a new breed of animal coming out of this ranch.
Exactly. Hail and kill from the Dan Rather of rock and roll, Eddie Trunk.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
Jesus.
So a letter from the real Eddie Trunk.
Real Eddie Trunk checking in.
The
Wow.
real Eddie Trunk checking in. Yep, absolutely. So how about that?
That's too funny.
Okay, I was looking at this. John Burke from this is John Burke. Yo from Philly.
Yo.
All he has to say is, can't wait to finger my ball sack tonight while listening.
Okay, then.
That's all he has to say.
You stink, and I don't like you.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, John, for checking in.
And that's it.
All right.
So
That's our begging for email segment?
That's it. The real Eddie Trunk checking in.
The real Eddie Trunk and a guy that's fingering his ball sack.
That's what he said. Can't wait to listen to finger my ball sack while listening.
Well, thanks. Appreciate that.
So I'm not exactly sure how to respond, but hey, if that works for you, good for you.
Yeah. Hey, welcome. What the hell? All right.
And that's it. That's it for begging for email.
All right. Well, good.
All right.